What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's Aaron Nix, and I am back to discuss WWE Smackdown on the Wrestle Plug YouTube channel. We have a new #1 contender for the Universal Championship. Now, unless you've been living under a rock, you would have seen all the whinging and smarky nonsense going on. Why doesn't Shinsuke Nakamura get a push? First of all, can I just point out, Shinsuke Nakamura, right, won a Royal Rumble, faced AJ Styles for a WWE Championship at WrestleMania. I mean, former Intercontinental Champion, former United States Champion, I believe, former Tag Team Champion. I'd say he's doing okay. Honestly, man, honestly, stop moaning. Seriously, stop moaning. Either way, Shinsuke Nakamura got quite a big push. Now, SmackDown, obviously, all centered around the gauntlet match for the most part, and of course the interactions involving Adam Pearce and Roman Reigns and his gang. The show opened beautifully as well with this incredible, powerful promo. This felt like great acting, high quality acting. I've got to say, there are two things that really stand out to me. One, Roman Reigns is obviously tenfold the star he ever was when he was a face. Now that he's a heel, his promo quality and his conviction in what he's saying just comes off as so real. The other thing is that Adam Pearce, actually, for me, has been one of the biggest revelations of the last year. Since he's been put onto TV as an authority figure, running around trying to get signatures, whatever it might be, also working on Raw, kind of like a de facto GM, just, you know, sort of handing out the announcements from, you know, the people above and stuff like that. I think he's been fantastic. He's been excellent. He's very, very accomplished on the microphone. And he's also a legitimate wrestler in his own right. Anyone who knows Adam Pearce will know that he spent a long time on the indies, companies like Ring of Honor, etc., really applying his craft. He's a very talented wrestler in his own right. He just gets the business. And actually, I really like him in this role. And his facial acting is really good as well. I love this opening segment. It had a lot of strength in it. There was fear. There was worry, of course, that he was going to get assaulted. I love how Roman Reigns kind of had him by the suit, and then Paul Heyman was like, what are you doing? What are you doing? Don't hurt the authority figure. That is so well done. You know, and then we find out later on Paul Heyman wanted that opportunity so that he could manipulate Adam Pearce into wanting to be a contender for the Universal Championship. But did you really think they'd follow through on it? Of course they would. It's WWE. Vince McMahon said, oh, Adam Pearce would make a great Universal Champion. It's such a great WWE thing. I'm so used to it now, I can't even get angry. Now, I've seen that obviously the Smarks are on social media, they're out of force. How dare you? We told you we want to push Nakamura. Now, technically, he got a massive push because he went over Baron Corbin, you know, he went over Daniel Bryan, and then ultimately it took like 3 guys essentially beating the shit out of him. Well, 2 really, but obviously, you know, Paul Heyman's kind of a good distraction as well. Roman Reigns' gang beats the shit out of him. Adam Pearce is kind of thrown in the ring, gets super kicked by Jey Uso, is thrown on top of Nakamura, and boom, we have a new #1 contender for the Universal Championship at the Royal Rumble. Roman Reigns, as it stands, will face Adam Pearce for the Universal Championship. Now, the funny thing is, it would actually be a decent match if they let Adam Pearce go full throttle with what he's capable of doing. I somehow still think it's going to be Nakamura in this position. I think they're going to work their way around it or find some way of getting out of it, just because Adam Pearce versus Roman Reigns isn't really going to sell people on the Royal Rumble event. Now, ultimately, the Royal Rumble sells itself, doesn't it, really? We're all going to tune in. The Royal Rumble matches are fantastic. I personally think the Royal Rumble is the best pay-per-view of the year. It always has been since I was a little kid. So I'm going to watch anyway, because I want to see those Royal Rumble matches, especially now that we have a women's one as well, which is fantastic, which has, frankly, been a real revelation in its own right over the last few years. But I'm not buying this. Kevin Owens obviously sent to the hospital last week, wasn't involved in SmackDown this week. Either they're going to give him a break till the Royal Rumble, or maybe he's going to come back and interject himself in this as well. You can see what they're doing. They're building it really nicely, because obviously Roman Reigns is just getting away with whatever he wants, but he's burning a lot of bridges, upsetting a lot of people, Kevin Owens, Daniel Bryan, Nakamura, and before you know it, you know, there's going to be a locker room revolt kind of thing. It's tried and tested, this angle. It works beautifully. Reigns' delivery on the mic throughout the night, and actually his in-ring talking, the stuff that's caught off the mic, is phenomenal. That's where I'm really loving Roman Reigns. He just feels like a megastar right now. Credit to him. And you know what? Credit to Adam Pearce. He's done well here. Let's relax, people. I know what we're all thinking. Adam Pearce in a massive main event of Raw, you motherfucker. Chill out. I'm sure they'll find a way to get around it. And before I upset everybody else, like I started off at the top of this little YouTube video, I just don't think Nakamura is nearly as hard done by as you lot think he is. Do I hate Nakamura? No. Do I think he should be in the main events facing Roman Reigns for Universal? No, not really. He's not going to go over him anyway, so what's the point? So, for me, I feel like, the Kevin Owens, for instance, is a really good example of somebody who deserves to be in that main event, who should be Universal Champion, who has been Universal Champion. Nakamura's had plenty of opportunities, and he still does well now. And he was one of the biggest focal points of this SmackDown. So I don't really understand people going to social media and getting upset, getting their panties in a twist, and going, oh, Nakamura never gets a fucking push. Like I said at the top of the show, multiple-time champion in this company, albeit not one of the major champions. Not to mention NXT champion as well, which I didn't mention in the first place. He's done a lot. How many people would give their left nut to be a Royal Rumble winner? Whether you like it or not, that's a prestigious position, and Nakamura has done well for himself. Interesting to see what they do with this SmackDown. The rest of SmackDown, mishmash, we had a big upset. New tag team champions in Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler, and this is where I unfortunately have to upset a lot of people. The Street Profits are my favourite tag team right now, especially as the Usos are one man down, obviously, because of injury, and it's just Jey Uso, who, by the way, is fantastic as main event Uso. I'm loving him as well, and I've got all the time in the world, and I can't wait to speak about him more as we progress on YouTube. I'm not happy with this decision. First of all, it's another tag team that isn't a proper tag team. It's two singles guys. Second of all, Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode are so fucking boring. I'm sorry, I don't care. Bobby Roode, right, was fantastic in TNA for so long. And he came to NXT, and the Glorious thing was fantastic for a little while. But just like Ty Dillinger, what we found out was it was a character that was reliant more on the gimmick of the music. And, like for instance, Ty Dillinger, once you got rid of the 10 stuff, okay, what else you got? Oh, nothing? Okay, see you in AEW soon. Bobby Roode, same thing. Glorious. Oh, that's great fun. The Glorious Bombs with Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, great fun. Now all of a sudden, oh, okay, great. And Dolph Ziggler, we all know this. Dolph Ziggler's very talented. He looks fantastic. But he's been the same person for the better part of 15 years now. He doesn't evolve. He doesn't change. He gets pissy on Twitter when everyone says that he should evolve and change as well, which is really funny because who's the greatest wrestler of all time? Arguably, The Undertaker. And he will constantly evolve his character. Doesn't have to be a full overhaul of everything that he's wearing, his whole gimmick, but just a little bit more. So these guys as tag team champions, knocking off the Street Profits, who are two of the most charismatic, exciting, and future humongous stars of this company, especially Montez Ford. I have waxed lyrical countless times on our social media at WrestlePlug, cheeky plug, that Montez Ford could be a future WWE champion. He's got all the tools. He looks incredible. Great body. World-class athlete. Hilariously great on the microphone. He can be serious. He can be funny. His facial expressions are incredible. Some people say, oh, he's a little bit over the top. Hello, it's wrestling. The fact that you've had these two guys knock them off of the tag titles, it's not a case of I have a problem with the Street Profits dropping them, but for fuck's sake, drop them to a decent tag team. Drop them to people that matter. Because I guarantee in a year's time, nobody's going to be like, oh, do you remember that incredible tag team run of Bobby Roode and Dolph Ziggler? No. And this is ultimately WWE's fault for not caring enough about tag team wrestling. You split up Otis and Tucker as Heavy Machinery. They were fantastic. You sent Breezango back down to NXT. Bring up some new teams. We've heard that Daniel Bryan apparently on the dirt sheets is very keen and wants to push for NXT call-ups. There is absolutely no reason why you can't have... bring Breezango back, for instance. They can come back up and challenge. They'd be great fun. Hysterically good fun. Can you imagine them versus the Street Profits? That's got money written all over it. Why did you break up Otis and Tucker? For no reason, just to basically bury him. Have fucking Tucker and... have Otis and Gable, for instance. They're a tag team, albeit two singles guys, but they've got potential. It would be a lot more entertaining. But it's just going back to this, okay, Dolph Ziggler's tried and tested in the mid-card. But I'm over it now. I'm bored of him, and I don't care. On the flip side of mid-card titles, the Intercontinental title, Big E, faced off against Apollo Crews, not once, but twice. I don't really care. I've said this before. Apollo Crews is a lovely guy. He's a great wrestler, but he has all the charisma of a chewed-up Malteser. I don't care. I really don't care. He's, you know, it's Apollo Crews. Should he beat Big E? No. What was weird about it as well was the fact there was that like double pinfall. Don't understand that. So what they should have done is immediately Big E should have got up. This is where storytelling needs to be tweaked ever so slightly, because there's nothing overly wrong with what I saw from this. But Apollo Crews gets in his face and says, you know, because Big E's like, you know, that it is what it is. I can't help the rules. Give me a fist bump. It's like, no, you're supposed to be a fighting champion. That's a really shady way to retain the title. So you should be straight out in front as this big baby face and saying, do you know what? That's not how I want it to go down. That's not how Apollo wants it to go down. And have Apollo slap him anyway, because he wants to fire himself and, you know, Big E up. Big E, obviously, it's great seeing him snap, go into that more serious mode. He goes into kind of a Suplex City mode, a better one, if you ask me. He's got all the tools. Little things like this, just, they don't hurt his progression, but I just sit there and think, whatever. You know, like, I'm glad that Apollo Crews gets a title shot and he gets some use, but at the same time, I'm never going to tune in to SmackDown and watch someone like Apollo Crews. I'm just not. And there's quite a few guys like that. And, you know, Dolph Ziggler and Bobby Roode fall into that category as well. Other than that, not a great deal really to report. A lot of this nonsense they get around the Rumble time where it's like, I'm declaring myself eligible for the Royal Rumble. I don't care. I'll tell you why. Because what is the biggest joy about the Royal Rumble? The unpredictability. Who's coming out next? Who's in this Royal Rumble? Once you start having everyone declare for it, it's like, oh, okay. It just takes a bit away, a little bit of the magic, you know? Case in point, right? I'll give you a really good example. It's a proper throwback, and this will show you how old I am. World War III, which was obviously a famous WCW pay-per-view. That was their alternative. That was kind of their version of the Royal Rumble. 60 men, insane three-ring battle royal, and then each winner of, you know, and then they would go in a one ring. It was clusterfuck, typical WCW. But I remember at the top of the show, you know, they would show you a plethora of all these guys that are in it. And we kind of knew they were going to be in it anyway. Let the fans have something. Stop announcing everything. They do this with so many guys when they return. Do you remember when Batista returned? They announced it like 2 weeks beforehand. They announced Goldberg's debut the night before he actually debuted. You think, let us have something. Just relax. There aren't many genuine surprises left in wrestling anymore, especially when you got all these dickheads who just literally spend all their lives on WrestleZone and dirt sheets and whatever it might be, and you just think, mate, some of us just want to enjoy it for what it is. I'm not Dave Meltzer. I'm not a wrestling journalist. I have a life. I go outside. So when I watch wrestling, I want to escape from reality. I want to enjoy it as a mark. I'm quite happy being a mark. Why would I watch this as a proper smart? Why would I want to watch something where I already know everything? And I always use this argument. If you're a big fan of Game of Thrones or Walking Dead, yes, I know that you can read source material. But ultimately, if I gave you the script for every single episode of The Walking Dead, would you read it before you watched it? And if you would still, doesn't that say a lot about you? Like, how boring is life that you must know everything beforehand? This is the problem with wrestling fans. We've got away from enjoying the product too much, and now we feel like we have to just be journalists. And I know I'm sitting here analysing it for YouTube, so that kind of makes it a bit of an oxymoron, a bit hypocritical on my end. But ultimately, I do this to entertain people, and also to have a bit of fun and enjoy watching wrestling. I like to entertain people from a mark standpoint. I don't want to be told every 5 minutes, yeah, well, I saw somebody was backstage, so ultimately they're going to debut. Oh, so-and-so put something on Instagram. I don't care. Let us enjoy it, ultimately. And that's the big problem there. But all in all, actually, the SmackDown was really great. Love the intensity of it. And I like the fact that the gauntlet match took up, you know, a large portion of it. Baron Corbin's little run in there was fantastic as well. It's such a great heel. So good at winding up the crowd. Everyone's like, oh, fuck it. Here comes Corbin to ruin everyone's day. That's his job. He's a heel. He's one of the best heels in the business for my money. And he's actually got one of the most exciting movesets. I think Baron Corbin has got to be one of the most underrated wrestlers I've seen in the last decade. I really believe that. People shit on him, but they're supposed to shit on him. But he does his job, and he always does it well. And that's why he finds himself in these positions over and over and over. And Sami Zayn, by the way, with his conspiracy theory camera crew, I love this gimmick. He looks like an extra from MASH. I know he's going for the more kind of Viva la Revolution, you know, the kind of Chavez look, which is not a problem either, to be honest. I just like it. It's really fun. And ultimately, people are whinging about Nakamura. I tell you what, where's Sami Zayn's big push for a world title? Because at least Nakamura's had high-profile pay-per-views where he's challenged for them. Even Sami Zayn's high-profile world title shot on a Royal Rumble shot, I believe that was a handicap match with Kevin Owens versus AJ Styles. So it's not like he's ever truly got his one-on-one opportunity. But, like I say, all in all, great SmackDown. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it as well. Let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments below. Like, subscribe if you really enjoy this content. If you want to hear me consistently cover shows, I've tried to cover pretty much everything this week. I think the only thing I haven't covered is AEW Dynamite. Let me know in the comments if you do want me to cover AEW Dynamite, by the way. Ultimately, it's up to you guys. It's your channel as much as it is mine. I love the fact that Wrestle Plug is about interacting with people. So, like I say, like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. Little click on that notification icon is always nice. That bell icon so you can get notifications of what we're doing in the future. But for myself, Aaron X, thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you very soon for more content from the Wrestle Plug.